Hello, everybody. I hope you can hear me all right. Um, thank you so much for joining me tonight. And just let me know if you can all hear me all right. And and if you can hear Anthony. And so, for those of you who don't know, it's our first time. Here's my husband, Anthony, and he takes the questions just so that I can focus. All right.
Speak off camera, so let us know if you can hear me.
Yeah, otherwise I need to move the boom a little bit. So just let me know if it's all good. Hello, Wasima. I hope you're well. I've been thinking of you, sending you healing light as often as I think of you. Hi, Claudel. Hi, Dragon Weaver. Hi, Alison, and hi, Honey. Great, thank you, Claudel. Hi, Renata. Great, thank you. I was worried with load shedding, nobody would come. All right. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight. And I'm very excited about channeling Melchizedek. He was the first being that I think that you can think of as sort of as more of an individual entity. Morowell was the first collective, and Melchizedek was the first entity that I channeled directly through me. So very exciting for me. Hi, Tracy. Thank you. Yes, I have an inverter. You can see I'm not on the laptop because I'm actually looking where I'm supposed to be looking. I got an inverter on Friday. I'm so happy. It's made life so much easier. The lighting is not perfect, but not too bad for the fact that there's no electricity in the house. But my computer is powered by a mobile inverter. So, yay, super happy. Makes life easier. Okay, so are there any personal questions tonight? Wasima, thank you, Michelle. I'm good, thanks. We'll connect. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to that. Okay, so Honey has put her 3 pink hearts in. So, Honey, if you could just please tell me who you'd like to connect with and what your question is. I'd really appreciate that. And if anybody else wants to ask any questions, just put 3 personal questions. Just put 3 pink hearts, please. Hi, Michael. Welcome. Hi, Dirk. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Fantastic. All right. Honey, here we go. Higher self. Okay. So let's do we're going to do her sister-in-law first, right? Because I don't channel past of a loved ones. I just connect with them. And I have done it in the past, but I know better now. So I will just connect with her, Santosh. And then just please tell me what you want to know. Hi, Azal. Welcome. It's good to have you here. Hi, Renisha. Hi, nice to meet you. Fantastic. Okay, so Honey, just please let me know what you want me to ask your sister's mom-in-law. We're well. Thank you, Renisha. I hope you're well too. I hope everybody's doing well. This is exciting times we're living in. There's so much going on. So for those of you that are new to my channel, just give you a quick little rundown while we wait for Honey and anyone else that might want to ask questions. Just remember the 3 pink hearts if you want personal questions answered. So I am a conscious channel and an intuitive channel. So, and I'm also a medium. So I go between using my various gifts and channeling directly, depending on what is needed. And sometimes my clairvoyance is needed, and then I need to come forward and explain what I'm seeing, if that is what's needed. And when I'm channeling directly, I'm conscious. So it means I kind of just go into the back a little bit. I'm still aware of what's going on, but I don't necessarily remember all the details afterwards. In the moment, I'm there, and I see and experience a lot more than what is coming through. And that's why I also sometimes just need to step forward and, give a description of what I'm seeing or what I'm picking up. So that's where the intuition and the psychic side comes in and the mediumship side comes in. But yes, so basically I don't remember all the details. I basically just retain what's necessary for me to remember. And this is quite an odd effect when I'm sometimes channeling for people, especially with one-on-one sessions. I don't always remember things, and then they have these wonderful experiences, life-changing experiences, and then they see me again, and then I don't necessarily remember the event because I just retain what's important for me in my life. So it's very interesting. But on this channel, every Monday night, when we are channeling for the collective, even the personal questions, everybody learns from it. Everybody gets uplifted from it. We are co-creating here. This is a community of love and light. But the information that comes through from the main entity or being or collective that I channel in the second half of the broadcast, it's been a long day, that we get a lot of information, and a lot of exciting stuff has been coming out this year. There's so much going on. So it's really very exciting times. Okay.
Maybe you can just answer that one while we get more questions coming in.
From Claudel?
Yes.
Okay, Claudel, why don't you channel people that have passed? Okay, so I don't channel people that have passed anymore. I connect with them. So I do the mediumship thing. I tell you what I pick up. I tell you what they say. I actually use telepathy quite a lot when I'm connecting with past ever loved ones. And the reason I don't channel them is because most of the time they're not 100% light beings. So it is not safe to channel an entity or a collective that is not 100% light. If that's not something you're concerned about, and there are people like that, you certainly can do that. And I have done it in the past. But that, like I said, is before I knew better. Now I understand why it's important. Because even if the being or entity has got the most well-meaning intentions, if they still have things that need to be worked on or wounds that need to be healed, then it can affect me. And I have gotten ill in the past, not understanding why, and now I understand why. So that is one of those things that one needs to learn. And this is the type of thing that I'll include in my course that's coming up. So my event is set. I have decided, let me just double check the date, not to do it on the 25th of April, but rather to do it on the 2nd of May. It's going to be, the event is called Phoenix Magic. I will share more details with my WhatsApp group tomorrow. And I will share more details on social media as well, coming up soon. So on the 2nd of May, we're going to have the Phoenix Magic event. And it's basically going to be a transmutation and elevation event. So big stuff happening there. And that will lead into the course that I'll be teaching. And I'll be teaching things like why we channel only 100% light beings. So I hope that makes sense. Okay. Hello, Melo. Welcome. Fantastic.
So Melo's question for the collective.
Yes, so Melo has added to our hearts thing. So when he puts three red hearts, it's for the collective. So any of you, if you have questions for the collective, you can also do that if you want. It just kind of stands out and we can see it. So thank you. But 3 pink hearts, that's for the personal questions. Okay.
Awesome.
All right, let's start with Honey's sister-in-law. What is the name again? Santosh. I hope I'm pronouncing. Have I?
You've channeled it before.
I've channeled it before.
She's very anxious.
Okay, yes.
So Hannah's just checking in with her now again, how
Okay.
she's doing. Any messages from her?
All right. Santosh. Santosh, are you there? Yes, okay. Okay, I just need to settle in quickly. Ferake and Takasaki into Shotoko is it is into Kayas Toko is it say a Shotoho take is a seki as it Kira Yotoko is it Shotokore tete and te a forek entire Sotoko is a kin Takayato Shinti Koso Toke so Ferenta Keo Shuiti. Thank you, Archangels, for creating this container for all of us. Thank you. Okay, Santosh. Okay, I'm still picking up a bit of anxiety, but it feels lighter. And if you want to do a mediumship session with me sometime, I could actually help her. The thing about mediumship is that it's really, I think of it as a healing modality. And it not only heals the living, it also heals those that have passed over. So those that are having a difficult time, whatever the reason may be, maybe they need some transmutation or clearing. Maybe they need some healing on some level. I actually help them with that as well and help them to go where they need to go. So I just sense that there's still a lot of anxiety. I'm picking up that there's things that she never really completed, and there's less anxiety than last time. I can pick up that it's lighter. So in the channeling we did last time when we connected with her, that definitely did clear a bit of it. And another thing that can actually help clear things that you folks can do at home when you are picking up someone or something. Now, this is specifically more for past over loved ones. If you are aware of what the issue is, you can actually just acknowledge that and send them love. So that alone will already alleviate the matter a lot. But for more intensive work and a deeper healing and making sure that it's all 100%, an authentic medium can also help with that. So yeah. Okay. Are there any more questions for her? For Santosh?
At the moment, I'm looking.
Okay.
She just wanted a message from her, if possible.
Oh, she wants a message from her as well. Okay.
So she wanted to know how she is, that she told her. I mean, any message.
All right. This message makes absolutely no sense to me. I'm hoping you know what it means. She's saying it's something to the effect. Now, with telepathy, it's not like direct English. It's emotions and impressions. It's something to the effect of put the birds to sleep or put the birds in bed. And I'm seeing, it looks like the way it appears to me is like little statuettes or something, or little figurines. Put the birds to bed. I have no idea what that means. I'm trying to get clarity from her. Did she have little birds that she maybe got from someone else, something that was treasured, that she kept, that she was very, it was very close to heart, sentimental perhaps? Could have been actually, it could even be jewelry or something. I don't know. I don't understand. I'm really, really having trouble understanding her, and I feel like I can't really tap in deep enough in this format. Okay, I'm just trying to see if I can understand more about what she's saying. Santosh, is it something she needs to do for you, or that your daughter needs to do for you? Or is it something you want them to do for themselves? The message is for Honey, actually. So I'm assuming you were quite close with her, Honey. She's like a mother to you, almost. Mother, older sister. And I keep getting the sense it's something, I'm seeing it as something like crafted. But it might just be the symbol she's using. And honestly, I can't pick up anything else.
There's a message from
It's to
Honey.
sleep. I don't understand it.
Her kids feel she is at peace. I am unable to make them understand.
I wonder if birds is a symbol for something. I'm trying to understand. I'm definitely picking up quite a bit of confusion. She does seem a little bit more distant than she was before. She is definitely, I wouldn't say she's 100% at peace, but she's more at peace than she used to be. I hope that makes sense. It's more like she just needs some closure about something, and like there's something she forgot to do. That's what it feels like. Something that might seem actually quite mundane to us, but to her it was important. So I don't think it's anything too serious anymore. I think that most of that has been dealt with. So the worst of it's been dealt with. This is just I actually sense it's more of a sense of confusion that she's dealing with. There's still a bit of confusion about where she is. So I just want to tell her and let her know she is in spirit and make sure she knows. Santosh, you are in spirit. It's time for you to pass on. It's time for you to go. Everyone's okay on this side. Okay, and I keep getting the sense that the birds thing is a code name for something. I don't know. Maybe you can figure it out, honey. You're welcome to contact me. WhatsApp me. We can chat about it more. But I'm not getting, it sounds like an inside thing. It doesn't sound like a common symbol thing, if that makes sense. So yeah, okay. She says it will come to you. She says you will understand, you'll figure it out. And she feels at peace now because she knows that you will figure it out. So I don't know what it means, but she says you will figure it out. I believe her. She feels at peace. She's actually, we don't need to do a session. She's actually going. She's going to it kind of looks like a doorway, but it's when they're going into spirit fully. She wasn't in spirit fully. So she's passing on. She's at peace. She's feeling happy about it. She's feeling more at peace about it. Yeah, she's going through to the Blue Star, the Blue Hospital. Okay. Joining her soul group. She will be fine. She's fine now. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. So maybe just the fact that she wanted to pass a message or needed to pass a message on, that's already giving her the closure that she needs. So I hope that makes sense. Okay. Okay. Higher self. Honey, higher self. Your higher self is saying that things are unfolding beautifully for you. I see like a visual of a flower opening slowly, but it's like petal for petal. And as each petal is just sort of, as each layer of the flower is just kind of opening up, there's more beauty and more, it's like alignment, I think. But it's just like you're opening up more and more. You're just coming more into your power. And it's very feminine energy. It's like a rose, you know? So it's this very, very feminine, beautiful, divine feminine energy that's coming through, and you standing in that much more solidly. Allowing yourself to be who you are. Yeah. It's just a coming more into who you are, and I'm sensing that your higher self is happy with the progress that's happening. There's also a rest assured that everything is going as planned and you're dealing with things well as they come up. So things are coming up, but that is part of what everyone's going through right now, this whole ascension process. Everybody's just having to deal with stuff, and especially in relationships. I'm picking it up with clients a lot. Relationships are just seems to be like the number one thing that's coming up right now for people, having to deal with really deep suppressed things and healing. But your higher self is satisfied with what's happening, and it's more just it's a reassurance to let you know that you're on the right track and you don't need to worry. Yeah, you're doing fine. Don't doubt yourself. Don't listen to your head. Just keep listening to your intuition. I hope that makes sense. Okay.
Okay, so next is Marlene.
Marlene. Who does she want me to channel?
Her higher self, please. She would like some guidance.
Okay.
General guidance from higher self.
General guidance.
And any advice from a higher self would be appreciated.
Okay. Okay, I'm not only seeing your higher self, I'm seeing some of our other friends that we know as well, specifically Ra and your dragon, but there's also some other guides, but those are the main ones I'm seeing, and your higher self sort of in the center. And there's this, they're just all showing me these grins. Super happy with the journey that you completed. That was it this past Sunday or was it the week before? It was the week before, right? So they're super happy with how that went. It is an opening, and it was a very important ritual for you to, it's almost like a catalyst. It was like a catalyst to get started, if that makes sense, with everything that needs to be done. So they're just all super chuffed. That's the best way I can put it. Really chuffed. And it's almost like now we're cooking. Now we can get going. So the work that you have to do is it August? Well, I'm getting August. I don't know when it's supposed to happen, but I'm getting August. Now you have to prepare for that. So every week you should do a small ritual. It can be a journey type thing, or it can be something else, but journey will probably be involved, because it's now that you know how, you can get there quicker. You don't necessarily have to set up as much as you set up with this last journey. You don't have to prepare for it as much, but you should try and be as healthy as you possibly can, just to keep your vibes really high. But mainly it is that you should do a weekly ritual in preparation for what's to come. And each week it's like you'll receive a download, you'll receive information, you'll receive. So it won't just be Akashic records and things like that. It's specific information about the Table Mountain portal. It's specific information about dragon riding, and it's specific information about the significance of everything. So it's almost like some of it you might not immediately know what it's about, but there will be a bit of a revelation every single week. And then the rest will. So it's like there's so much that needs to be downloaded, and it can't just all be at once. So every week there needs to be a bit of a download happening. And they need to show you things. So I get the sense it's a very visual. So that's why the journey thing is important, because they need to actually take you places, show you things, and so Anubis is not necessarily going to be involved every single time. There might be different guides taking you through. But now that you've done that first one, now it can be much more just quick, like half an hour to an hour, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Okay, last one is August. Yes. Okay, great. Fantastic. Yay. Looking forward to that. For those that don't know, Marlene and her dragon are the portal. What is the correct word? Portal keepers? I don't know. Sorry, Marlene. I'm not good with the terminology, but I know what you do and what you're supposed to do. Okay. So that's it. Good. Looking forward to that. All right. You're welcome. All righty. Who's next? One more person.
No one.
No one?
No one.
We can go to Melchizedek.
See, Melo's got a question that follows his last one, but it is also explaining something personal. So I don't know, maybe if Melchizedek come through and answer that question, that will be our third personal question.
Yeah, I think that's a good question to ask Melo. Melo's saying, super interesting. We'll ask more about that in the group. And I think Marlene can talk about it in the group because it's her thing. Portal keepers. Yes, her and her dragon are the portal keepers. There we go. Okay. Okay, so we can go to Melchizedek. Melchizedek is waiting. I can tell you that. He's been sort of around me. I want to say the day, but I think I've been preparing for this channeling the whole weekend, to be honest. I did a wonderful sound journey. Azal was there. I don't know if any of the other people that were there is on the chat tonight, but I did a wonderful sound journey with Andre Berg. I don't know if any of you know who he is. He's a wonderful, wonderful sound healer. He does meditations on Saturday mornings at his house. It's like a temple. It's amazing. It's in Mowbray, and it's like these crystal glass singing bowls, and he's got all these instruments. So I had this. It was a gong music journey. It was just amazing on Sunday. And yes, for those of you that are interested in having a sound journey with Andre, he has asked me if I would like to host it at my house. So if anyone's interested in that, you can contact me. We need a certain number of people to make it happen. So if anyone's keen, let me know. Hey, alrighty. Yes, yeah, I'm glad. Okay. Melchizedek. And we've got a whole number of questions from community members already, but you guys are welcome to ask any questions to Melchizedek that you want. I know we've got questions from Alison and from Marlene. Is there from anyone else? Just Melo as well. Okay, fantastic. But you're all welcome to ask questions. You are welcome to ask questions about other people's questions. It's more like a conversation. Okay. All right. And he told me to grab my green jade. So I'm fidgeting with it. Okay. Melchizedek. Oh. Clickety click. Hello, beautiful souls. Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you for making space and for being here, for being present for this, and for interacting with me. Thank you very much. Hello, Anthony.
Hi, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
I'll jump right in with Allison's question. Allison sent me a long voice note with a bit of history behind her question. But so the actual question is, when you are operating or assisting us as humans, she would like to know, do you bring with you the Christ consciousness or the I am when you are busy working with us?
Yes, the I am is part of us. The source consciousness is part of us. And I work very closely with Christ consciousness. However, that is just one construct, one energy that I work with. It goes a lot deeper, as you have said, with I am. So in terms of connecting with the higher selves of each individual that I'm working with, as well as the higher souls, the greater higher selves. I also work with Earth's higher self as needed. So it's basically connecting the higher selves together in a unified form, which brings them closer. So whatever collective I'm working with, it's bringing all those higher selves together as one higher consciousness, and then bringing that right directly into source consciousness. So this is why I have a direct connection with what the Hebrews would have called God, Elohim. Yes. So this really is just source. It is all. And that is where I play. That is where I work. That is what I love, whom I love. I love every soul as an individual, and I love the greater soul, great spirit.
Great, thank you very much. And then we've got a few questions from Marlene. It's got to do with the earth chakras. So let me jump right into that. Does the earth chakra system, do the earth chakra system stay the same throughout the millennia, or do they change or migrate in yin-yang cycles? Or is there a yin-yang point for each chakra on the two different dragon lines?
First question, Anthony, you might have to repeat each section, but the first question, do the chakras change? They only change in the sense that as the earth moves and continents and formations and things move, so do the chakra points. And they develop and become. So there's a certain change that takes place, like a transformation. So they don't, in essence, the question is no, they don't stay the same. They do actually change. But the transformation that happens with it is sometimes has to do with the geology and the movement of the earth as huge changes takes place, as it is happening at the moment. and then those chakra points move and change. And of course, the chakras don't stay the same either, because as Earth changes and ascends herself, there's more points opening up. Some of the chakra points are smaller points. So there are 144 chakras that are developing. We are about halfway through that point. So yes, a lot of the smaller chakras have opened up that did not exist before. However, they did exist before in a very long time ago. So the 12,000 years before, there was a closure of those, but they were different. They were in a lower vibrational field than they are opening up at now. The process is that it needs to go in a state of its death and rebirth, right? So it needs to go into a state of death in order to open up again and form into new ascended points. Essentially, it stays the same. In terms of the yin and yang on the dragon lines, it is actually true that there's a yin and yang point overall, like you explained. And this is true for all things in this earth realm because of duality. So it's not only the earth herself, but each individual person has got the same thing. And that is that the truth is that there's the major yin and yang, as you know, with the dragons. And then each chakra point, to a certain extent, also has a yin and yang, but it's like a smaller energy of that. It is just a point of duality. And when those chakras are perfectly balanced and aligned, then it's not so much yin and yang, but more of just whole. I hope that makes sense. Is there anything else that I needed to answer there?
No, I think you answered it. I mean, just to be clear, the last one was if there was a yin and yang point for each chakra on the two different dragon lines. But I think you did answer that.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Then the next question is, how many main 5D chakras does Gaia have? And she says 12 or 7.
So it is not 7 anymore alone. There are more chakra points that are opening up, but all 12 are not open yet. It's in the process. So it's very similar to what humans are going through, but perhaps a step ahead. Gaia has to be a step ahead in order to facilitate the living beings that's living on her surface. So she is currently between 9 and 10. So again, kind of a number halfway between 7 and 12, if that makes sense. So she's more closer to 10, but there are chakras that have opened up. So the one location, so it's to the north, there's one point, and it's kind of taking the yin and yang thing that's going across horizontally and almost extending it this way. So there are points opening up. The main ones that have opened now are in the north and in the south. Not necessarily the North Pole and the South Pole, but relatively close to those areas.
Okay, thank you. Then she would like to know, is Robert Kuhn's structure and prophecy about Earth's chakras a good representation of the actual chakra system?
Yes, it is highly accurate. He was given very clear downloads and very clear information, and he was able to receive these downloads. He was prepared for that, and he was given certain assistance with that. he was given certain implants and devices that would actually help him receive and record the system. And yes, it's let's say 99% accurate.
Great, thank you. And then Mela's got an interesting question. He wants to know who has permission to create or communicate through our dreams.
That is a really, really good question. Thank you, Melo. So first and foremost, your higher self has permission. So, and this seems obvious, but not a lot of people think about that. But whatever communication comes through is something you have agreed upon at some point. So please understand that no one has permission except your higher self to give you direct messages unless you give permission. So some people have not developed their gifts and don't know how to say no. And this is where it gets interesting. So the way spirit understands things, or the way even extraterrestrials understand it, or other beings, is not necessarily the way people understand it. So people's sense of agreement to something, their concept of that, is vastly different to some beings, because if you think about all the cultures on earth and how something simple can create a huge cultural gap between cultures. So, for example, some cultures believe that it's rude to look people in the eyes, and some cultures believe you're dishonest if you look people in the eyes. So it's that kind of thing where, so with some beings and entities, the way that they say, okay, this person is giving me permission, is vastly different to how humans, for example, see that. So most of the time you would have said yes on some level. You would have said, yes, I want to have this experience. You would have said in some action or something that you've said or called to you, your thoughts even, you could have asked for it. So always be very clear before you go to bed. You can create a very clear construct, a very clear boundary of what you want to allow and what you don't want to allow. So it's quite a good ritual before bedtime to state that clearly. Loudly is best, but of course not always possible. But to state clearly what you want to allow, what you don't want to allow, and what experience you want to have and what experience you don't want to have each night or every time you go to sleep. Of course, there are times when you can't control this. For example, if you are so tired, you just fall asleep before you can do anything. Or if you perhaps are in a coma or some situation like that, unconscious, epileptic attacks, anything like that, you're not always going to have control over that in terms of what you gave permission for before. So this could have happened within your lifetime. It could have happened between lives. It could have happened in a past lifetime where you've given certain permissions. So this is why sometimes it's important to go into that karmic layer and break vows that you have vowed, because they no longer apply to you.
Okay, so just a question from me on the same subject is that if we consciously deny anyone, so we may not know who wants to go into our dreams, but we consciously deny whoever, that is us basically giving the non-permission as opposed to the whatever contract we may have signed or whatever we may have agreed to beforehand.
Keeping in mind that what your higher self has agreed to do, your higher self's going to push for that because there's an experience that your higher self wants to have, or because it has to do something with your soul's growth. So it's not always advisable to push everything away, but it is good to push all negative or all communication that's not for your highest good away. But then again, it doesn't have to happen every single night, right? Some nights you don't want any communication, and you can state it for each night, because that would actually be the best practice, because then you can be in flow. Because if you feel that you do need to have an experience, you can state it before you go to bed. I want to speak to so and so, or I'm open to any of my spirit guides helping me, but only my true spirit guides of 100% light only for my highest good. So just be very specific about the parameters that you set and the kinds of experiences that you want to have or don't want to have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then Mela wants to know, what does it mean to journey or dream within a dream? So his example is that he dreamt of a guide showing him to journey further. So he had the adventure and he woke up in the dream, and then he woke up in this plane after that.
You were dimension jumping. That's all that is. You were just going from one dimension to another dimension. So it's in effect, you were going into another reality of the same place of your waking world, but a different reality than the one you're currently finding in. And it is possible to merge those realities at some point. Merge might not be the exact correct term, but bring the energy of one realm into this realm and vice versa. So that's pretty much what happened.
Thank you. And then I see Marlene's got a bit of a follow-up question on the chakra part. So she says, John Barlow, Melchizedek, and Diana Cooper say there are new positions for the main chakras. Is this then not true? What are the relationship between these two systems positions?
So these systems, these positions are an indication of how things are going to move. So it's more, in a way, it's true, and it's not true in this current reality, but it's true in the ascended reality. So it's more like they are tapping into the higher reality of where this reality will match to that reality. So it will shift into those positions.
Great, thank you. And then we don't have any more questions from people. I'm sure they'll come through soon. I wanted to know, from everything I've heard here, it sounds like you do a lot of work with individuals and with group consciousness. Do you do any work with Gaia herself?
Yes, I did state that I work with the Earth. I do work with Gaia quite intimately. And I actually help to anchor certain collectives and certain individuals when they give permission. I help to anchor them into the right frequency.
Great, thank you. And then I was just thinking now about the fact that the Earth is also ascending. I'm assuming that there are other planets out there that are doing the same, just as there are other beings out there that are on the same journey. Do you work with other planets as well?
I work primarily within this solar system and this galaxy. I do work with other sister galaxies, sister worlds that are connected to this one, and sister solar systems. So whenever there's a certain connection happening, I can go, and it's very similar to the work I do with the ley lines on Earth and the connections that there are on Earth. My main energy is about connections and finding the connections that connect back to source. So in the same essence, I do work all over the galaxy when it is necessary, but my main domain is here, and then anything that affects this system. So most of the planets in this solar system are ascending, coming into being, as in not that they didn't exist, but more present. So as the earth is shifting up, Earth is shifting more into that consciousness of those planets, and those will be revealed. And the others that are on Earth's frequency are leveling up as well. Some are a bit slower than others. Like Pluto drags behind a little bit, for example, but that's just simply because Pluto has got so much more to go. But in some ways, Pluto will also, once Pluto makes that step, it will actually be very, very quickly. And that's starting to happen now with Pluto. So there are also, with the suns in the different solar systems, many of the suns are busy going through an ascension as well, including our sun. The sun is going through, the portal is going through a transformation. So as Earth is ascending and people are ascending, and as the veil gets lifted completely, the portal will be a lot more evident. The sun will actually appear very different to people from certain perspectives. And the sun is going to ascend, so it's going to change quite a bit. As some already know, it is starting to go into it's still millions of years before this happens, but it's starting to go more towards the death cycle. Of course, this is something that many do not understand. Many astronomers do not understand yet, do not have this knowledge yet, but it never actually gets destroyed. It doesn't actually die. Stars that die don't truly die. They actually go into other dimensions. They're still there. The energy changes, but it balances out somewhere else. So there will be a birth of another star or anything to that effect. The universe has this natural way of balancing itself out, just like Gaia knows how to do a lot and knows who to work with as well. So if you think about those gods that people have worshipped, the gods that came from the stars, some of those energies obviously were extraterrestrials, but very, very higher frequential extraterrestrials. But some of those were actually much higher energies that actually govern, like certain archangels and certain angels and other kinds of light beings and other kinds of beings that actually guard over these systems. And just as there are people here working with the earth, there are also people elsewhere of other races working with certain planets and certain stars. So it's all connected at the end of the day.
Great, thank you. I'm quite interested in our solar system and space itself. So from what you said, it sounds to me that as the Earth is ascending, we will, or should I say, more planets will reveal themselves in
Correct.
our solar system. Will there be a, how do I put it? Not practical is not the right word, but for people that want evidence, if you like, will we start finding more planets in terms of the scientific community and things like that?
There certainly will be some things visible, though, as is always the case with the scientific community, there will be a lot of deliberation and talking and back and forth, and this paper and that paper disproves that one and that one disproves that one. So there will be a whole lengthy process where people will debate about what things actually are. And there will even be a realization at some point that certain solar systems actually overlap and share planets. So that is something to watch out for.
That's very interesting. And then the last question about the planets is Pluto an actual planet?
So this is very interesting. Is Pluto, you could ask, is Pluto a being? The answer is yes. So every star and every planet or every moon is a being, and some are created, as you know, like our moon, which is a satellite that's been placed here very, very deliberately and very carefully, specifically in a very specific spot in the orbit. And that is also why it doesn't spin on its own axis. So for those that never think that the moon is a natural rock that broke off from Earth, you're mistaken about that. It was placed here and put into orbit in a very specific place, and that's exactly why it doesn't spin on its own axis. And much is true so Pluto is actually, you could think of Pluto as a hybrid. Pluto is a hybrid planet. Pluto is a planet, but Pluto is was also manifested, you could say. Created, manifested, but also a natural occurrence. So it was like you see the planets and the way they are formed, and the same with the stars. It's a bit of a different system with the stars, but the way that it all happens, it's just like everything else that comes into existence. So whether it is a soul that decides to come in to a human woman's body, where two people co-created and allowed a portal for that soul to come in, because that's pretty much what that system means. Whether it's an earthworm who only has one sex and fertilizes itself, whether it is a plant and relies on bees to carry pollen and things like that. So everything has its own way or its own trigger. You can think of it almost as a trigger of creating a type of portal or a kind of event that creates something. So everything creates all the time. Some things are more part of it's almost like a machine. And you can think of it as a type of intelligence. It's similar to AI, but a much, much higher intelligence, a much higher frequency. And that's pretty much what happens with the planet as well. They are higher frequency beings. And in a way, sometimes there's a co-creation between them and other beings, not necessarily planetary or astrological or astronomical beings. Sometimes there's a collaboration. So creation can happen in many, many different ways. So Pluto, you can think of Pluto as a hybrid, but in essence, Pluto is a planet. The reason why Pluto is not considered a planet is because of Earth scientists have created a certain parameter, just like they created halitosis so that they can sell mouthwash.
Okay, so basically the debate about Pluto is just the man scientists that are discussing things.
Yes, so it's not necessarily wrong or incorrect. It is the opening of minds. It's the ability to explore, the curiosity. So it's not a negative thing. It's kind of part of the process of discovery.
No problem. And then here's a question which some might think is a funny question, but
who is asking this question?
This is Marlene.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a valid question. So the question is the Earth flat in 3D realm or any realm?
The Earth is flat in 2D realm, literally. And before people's consciousness shifted to that state of awareness, they were almost stuck in 2D for a certain period of time or history. And that's just the way it was dropped down. But in essence, Earth is not flat, but Earth's structure is very, very different than what people understand. Very different. And that's why that flat Earth theory has got almost more interest at the moment, because people are discovering other things about Earth and it's making them question. It's kind of like the Pluto debate where people are questioning things. But Earth is round. It's very clear. And Earth is actually, Earth is a toroid, just like the sun, just like we are toroids. So all living beings in its essence has got a magnetic energy, electromagnetic energy, and it's much the same. So yeah, she's also got that her own shape, donut shape, if you like, which creates energies. And she's got a honeycomb structure inside. It isn't this central core with the magma layer and all of those things. The magma's there. The metals are there. There certainly is a heavy, dense material in the middle, but it's not this big, solid ball. Earth has got very much a honeycomb structure with lots of pockets and lots of life inside.
Okay, so Maureen says multidimensional. Some parts are flat.
In essence, the same way, if you think about a drawing in essence is two-dimensional, but what you create on the drawing can become three-dimensional. It's not truly three-dimensional, it's two-dimensional, but that illusion of depth helps you sometimes so successfully, even a photograph, so successfully to go into that place. And then it becomes 3D or even higher, depending on what it is that you're putting into that drawing or painting. So it's very much similar to that concept, if that makes sense. And it is, it's very complicated and very intricate, but the same way you can jump from one world to another world by folding it like fabric, like paper. So it's almost like taking these 2 points, if it's like a flat piece of paper, and you can bend it. So there are planes are flat. There are 2D planes, so to speak, but it's a lot more intricate and in-depth than that. It's very complicated because it's multidimensional. Yes. It's all multidimensional.
So I've got an interesting question, which the flat earthers like to speak about as well, and that is, so according to our mainstream science, the Earth is traveling through the universe along with the galaxy at breakneck speeds. So the question is, how then can the stars, so the constellations, or how then can they be so constant if we're traveling so fast in a specific direction?
This is a physics question.
Yes.
You already know the answer. If two things are moving at the same speed, they can appear to be standing still from a certain perspective.
So are we saying that all those constellations are moving with us?
Everything's moving. Okay. The whole infiniverse is constantly in motion.
Great. So I couldn't figure that one out personally. All right. I think we're running out of time. I've got no other questions coming through. So do you perhaps have a parting message for us?
Yes. So it is so important to me that each of you discover and find your own divinity within you. Just as each being in the infiniverse needs to find this, even the plant, even the insect, even the microbe, everything needs to find their own divinity and their connection to divinity. So this is most important for ascending. This is most important for personal growth, soul growth, and this is most important for the collective. So this is truly what is important to focus on, getting that connection to your own divinity through your higher self.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Such an honor and pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. I just want to give everybody a blessing before I leave. Also, this microphone needs a blessing. Ore ke anta ke seya soko shoto ko he ke era te ke senta ya se. Fui inki ki inka sinka he ikoko inte ke e. Era fata ke se he ya soko shinta ya tore te impa fata ya soto ko horo te. May you find alignment. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello. Yo, I was on a journey. I was in the stars and in the planets. Wow, it was interesting.
Cool. Did you see the flat Earth?
Where's the flat Earth? Oh, yes, but you know what? It looks like a mathematical construct. It looks like a grid. And it kind of made the holographic, just also the same way he was explaining with the drawing. It makes that holographic experience. If you think about the 90s when computers were starting to do 3D renderings, and it was so basic. Just I'm reminded of that scene in You've Got Mail, where New York is this flat kind of map, and then slowly it starts like rising up the buildings, and so it reminds me of that. It's like this flat grid, so it can be flat, and then depending on the point of view or whichever dimension you're adding, it becomes more informed it's weird. So it's kind of looks almost like a grid or like all these points, and in fact each thing starts with just a point, the same way a cell has a nucleus, which is a point, but if you go into that nucleus there's like this whole world. So it's always this Russian egg effect, and it can go infinitely small to infinity. It's like the picture I'm getting is the atom's not the smallest thing, or the neutrons or whatever, the nucleus of the atom. What's the smallest thing they found?
We have to go to quantum physics for that.
But that's exactly the point. So even with quantum physics only starting to really get to the bottom of this on our current understanding here on Earth, everything can go infinitely deep and infinitely big, if that makes sense. But everything is in constant motion and all connected. So there's all these points and all the different points all over. So even if you think of the stars in each solar system. So I'm trying to explain kind of a little bit of what I saw, but it's a lot of information. So that's kind of why I'm speed talking. But it's like each star in the solar system, or at least maybe this is just a symbol that he was showing me, is that each star can be like a point. And all those points can come together into one point whenever needed. So that's one dimensional. But then it can become 3D, or it can split into all the points. It's kind of the way souls work as well, is that there's one soul, one source, one oversoul. And for some reason, Melchizedek couldn't bring that word through earlier. That's the word that I was kind of trying to bring that word through. But anyway, oversoul. So how a source is the biggest soul, the one soul that we're all part of. And every single individual or soul or consciousness that's out there right now is one point of source consciousness, whether it's a crystal or a bug or a whatever, right? A planet. It's one point. And sometimes the planet, for example, lots of points that's part of the planet is part of the planet's little souls. It's almost like the planet itself is an oversoul in a way. So it's very, very intricate, but it's like if you go through those 9 levels, the way Matthias De Stefano explains it. If you've watched his, what was that show on Gaia that we watched? Initiation. You watch that series and he explains all the different densities and dimensions in quite a lot of detail. it's kind of like that, where it can be one point and then there's duality, the polar opposites, and then you add the third point and then you add the fourth point, and so on it goes. So it's kind of like that, but it can happen almost instantaneously sometimes. And depending on where you find yourself or your point of view or what you're creating, each individual, I think this is why he keeps talking about your divinity, why Melchizedek was talking about that. So each individual can create and can choose what they want to perceive and see and what they want to experience. So it's very exciting. I don't know if any of that made sense to anyone, but it makes sense in my head.
I'm sure we all understand you 100%.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Melchizedek, for coming through. He's definitely one of my favorites as well. Yeah. Okay. I don't think I can read all of that right now.
That was question plenty.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for every single person being here and co-creating with me. This would be truly boring for me if there wasn't all this feedback and interaction. I absolutely love it. I love the co-creation between me and you and Anthony and the higher dimensional beings that come through. Please don't forget to like. Please don't forget to share with as many people as you can. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do that. I really appreciate it. If you want to know more about what I do, you can go to my website. The link is in the description. And if you'd like to contribute to what I do here, there is a PayPal link below. And I think for next week, I'll add a PayFast link as well. The South Africans don't want to use PayPal. People, PayPal does take credit card details. So, but anyway, so that is there if you feel it on your heart to make a contribution, so I can keep doing what I'm doing here for free on this channel. It does take a significant amount of preparation. It's not just this part where I'm channeling. There's a whole lot of other things that happen behind the scenes. So it does take up a significant portion of my week. And I do appreciate every one of you, whether you're here to co-create, whether you're here to just absorb, or whether you're here to do more. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a blessed, enlightened, wonderful week.
Bye, everyone.
Blessings to everyone.